Today's video is all about draft classes. We're gonna take a look at what happens if we combine every draft class into one team. Now, I did this video years ago and had a lot of fun doing it, so I decided to do an updated version since there are some new draft classes. However, some of the older draft classes do not have enough current players in the league. So the furthest back we could go to fill an entire roster was the 2014 draft class with Derek Carr as their highest overall quarterback. Everyone in that draft class has 10 years of experience. Now, Geno was in the 2013 draft class. He has 11 years of experience, but there were not enough players from his draft class still in the league, so we could not put him on a team. Kirk Cousins was from the 2012 draft class. He has 12 years of experience, but once again, not enough players from his draft class are currently in the NFL. And then of course, every draft class before that, the 2011, 2010, so on and so forth, will not have a team in this video, so no Aaron Rodgers. Now, since we have 11 teams, one team is gonna get a first round bye. The way we determine this is by simming a normal season with everyone on their actual rosters in real life, and whichever quarterback wins the Super Bowl will get the first round bye for their draft class. So after we sim the season, it ended up being the Ravens with Lamar taking on the Niners with Purdy, and Baltimore ended up hoisting the Lombardi. So the 2018 draft class with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen will get a first round bye. Huge thanks to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Are you looking for gourmet meals? Well, then you should try Factor, because they have meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, truffle butter, broccolini, and asparagus. Factor meals eliminate the hassle of prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. Now, I've used something similar in the past with HelloFresh. If you've been a subscriber on this channel for a while, you've seen me advertise for them. Well, Factor is now owned by HelloFresh, and now they have even more options like breakfast, smoothies, juices, small bites, and more to keep me going no matter what's on the schedule. They're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means way more time for you to do what you love. And speaking of love, I just adore shrimp and seafood in general, so when I saw this meal, I was ecstatic. So if you want to start eating good, head over to factor75.com or click the link below and use code 50Ckbirds to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50Ckbirds at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Once again, thank you so much, Factor, for sponsoring today's video. First game of the tournament, let's start with the 2024 draft class taking on the 2014 draft class. You can see how the matchups are gonna go. The most recent draft class taking on the oldest draft class in the tournament. Jaden Daniels leading the way. Jonathan Brooks at running back, Neighbors, MHJ, BTJ, Ladd McConkey. I mean, there's just so much talent on this rookie draft class. Now, these ratings are from, I would say, a month or two ago. I mean, I know it's been a while since my last video. You know, real life gets in the way. So, you know, this footage is kind of old. Okay, so that's why the ratings are not as up to date as you might expect them to be. Now, the 2014 draft class, Derek Carr reunited with his former teammate Devontae Adams. McKinnon at running back. You have Evans, Odell. Defense, pretty solid, man. Jadeveon, Khalil Mack. The Young Bucks versus the old heads. Let's get it started. Carr begins with a nice dot to Mike Evans. Quinyon Mitchell has a tough cover in this game. Beautiful tackle in the backfield, though. That's Dallas Turner, the Minnesota Viking, man. Brings up a third down. Carr over the middle, and it's short of the sticks, so they're gonna have to punt on their first possession. The rookies get the ball in their own territory, but Jaden Daniels is gonna find his tight end. Brock Bowers, one of the best in the league already, having a phenomenal regular season, man. Some people think he should be the offensive rookie of the year, and it would be hard to disagree with them, but we know it's a quarterback award. Anyways, Jonathan Brooks, first one to get points in this tournament. Rookies on top, 7-0. 14 draft class, not off to the best start. Byron Murphy gonna get the sack on their next drive, force them to punt. Now the rookies have a chance to go up 2 possessions. Bowers gonna get them inside the 10. First and goal. Daniels with some good protection. Back in the end zone, touchdown. 14-0. 2024 draft class dominant so far. Marvin Harrison Jr. getting in on the action now. The 14 draft class finally getting into field goal range. Devontae Adams helping them do so. 14-3. Now we're in the fourth quarter. Carr to the back of the end zone. It was a good drive they had going, but it ended up in disastrous fashion. They couldn't get the pick six, but the rookies end up with phenomenal field position. Tyler Nubin gets the INT. Daniel's going to put the icing on the cake, scrambling. That's what he does really well, man. 21-3 at one point, and it only got worse for the 2014 draft class. The oldest players remaining, on average in this tournament, man. Carr just throws it away on third down, and that's pretty much all she wrote, man. Quinion, Cooper DeJean, and company are moving on to the next round. Trey Benson with the dagger, 28-3, final score. Rookies are moving on. Now our next matchup, we're just gonna go down the list, man. The 2023 draft class taking on the 2015 draft class. CJ Stroud leading the way. You have Jahmyr Gibbs, you have Bijan, you have Zay Flowers, Puka, just so much talent. The last two draft classes have been incredible when it comes to talent, especially on the offensive end. Defense, you have Jalen Carter. You have some other studs as well. Now, the 2015 draft class led by famous Jameis Winston. Okay, Raheem Mostert. You have Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett. A lot of guys who have been doing it for a very long time. Zadarius on defense, along with Daniil Hunter. So also a very talented team. Will they be enough? Well, there's only one way to find out. Jameis and his offense gets ball first. They get close to the first down. Tyler Lockett getting them to within inches. Third down, he goes right back to him. He's been a very consistent, reliable receiver for a very long time. I don't know how he does it. The veteran just never stops producing. Raheem Mostert getting some carries, but third down, he gets stopped in the backfield. Jalen Carter, one of the best D tackles in the league already, in my humble opinion, gets the ball for his team, and CJ Stroud wastes no time, goes downfield, touchdown. 2023 draft class taking the early lead. Zay Flowers, the explosive wide receiver, man. His burst, his acceleration is very, very high up there amongst all the receivers in the NFL, man. Stroud on third down, going over the middle. That's a nice catch. Rashee Rice. People forget how good of a season he was having before he got injured, man. Expect him to bounce back really well next season. And almost a deja vu run, scramble near the goal line that we just saw from Jane Daniels, that we see from CJ Stroud. 14-0. This one wasn't all that close, man. The icing on the cake once again. This time is from Jahmyr Gibbs. 21-0. 2015 draft class gets obliterated and shut out. The 23 draft class is moving on. Next matchup, the 2022 draft class taking on the 2016 draft class. Brock Purdy leading the way for the 2022 squad. Crazy how he ended up being easily the best quarterback from this draft class. Kenneth Walker, a lot of talent at running back. You have Olave, Garrett Wilson, solid O-line, 90 overall team. I think that's the highest we've seen so far. I might be mistaken, but definitely one of the highest we have seen. Hamilton on defense. The 2016 draft class though, 92 overall. Dak Prescott, Derrick Henry, Tyreek the Cheetah Hill, Michael Thomas. Yeah, he was in this draft class as well. Not currently on the team, but he is on this team. Okay, Chris Jones, Kenny Clark, DeForest Buckner, Ramsey, Simmons, Bosa. The list goes on. So much talent on this defense. So you already know we're expecting a thriller in this one, and we were not disappointed. Purdy on third down, gonna find his target, keep the chains moving. We finally see some sort of run game. We haven't seen that early on in this tournament. Kenneth Walker getting them into field goal range. The 22 draft class strikes first to get a field goal. Derrick Henry showing they can run the football too. You have them in the backfield, you have to feed them. Even in Madden, where they're programmed to pass the ball, seems like every play, you're still gonna give the ball to Henry. Tyreek gets the first down. Dak across midfield, getting them inside the 20. Nice bullet to his tight end. Couple plays later, 4th and inches, they go for it, and Dak is gonna find his receiver in the end zone. 7-3 ball game. 2022 draft class trying to get it back with the quickness, and that's where you can end up making mistakes. But we all know Brock Purdy is not gonna shy away from passing the football, man. He does throw the pick six. He's going to continue passing that football. Kendall Fuller puts his team even more on top. However, next possession, Purdy to the top of the screen. That's Chris Olave getting them to within one possession. Nice dot right there. They end up going for 2 and not getting it. So it's 14-9. Henry gets the first down. They eventually get in field goal range. We're in the fourth quarter, 8-point ball game. Purdy has a chance to get them into field goal range, and he does that. So it's a 17-12 game. Plenty of time left. Dak on third down tries to go to the screen, but that's great pressure right there from the D lineman. And the 2022 draft class has a chance to take the lead. That's a great way to do it. Purdy gonna find his target, get them into field goal range, but obviously they're trying to get a touchdown, and they do. Purdy to the end zone. Now it's the 2-point conversion. He converts that as well. Olave stepping up for his team. 20-17. Dak has to get in field goal range. It's the closest game we've seen so far in this tournament. Can Dak help them get into overtime? The answer is yes. Look at that dot right there. He's gonna set up a field goal, and you already know they're not missing this one, man. 20-all, our first OT game of this tournament. And the coin toss ends up in the favor of the 2022 draft class. They get ball first, and they're going to try to score. Kenneth Walker, once again, I told you he was having himself a game. He didn't get too many carries, but when he did touch the football, he was getting chunks of yardage. They eventually get in field goal range. And now Dak has to get a field goal to keep his team alive. He's going to get sacked on fourth down, and that's going to do it. Trayvon Walker sealing the W for his draft class. The players drafted in 2022 are moving on, and we only have 2 first-round games remaining. So our next matchup, we have the 2021 draft class taking on the 2017 draft class. Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne both drafted in the same draft, and they're both starting for this team, man. Wide receivers are absolutely stacked. Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, Smitty, it's just insane the amount of talent they have. 94 overall team. Parsons, Surtain on the defensive end. But Mahomes and company from the 2017 draft class is also a 94 overall. He is at quarterback. McCaffrey at running back. Cooper Kupp, Mike Williams at wide receiver. Kittle and Njoku Ingram at tight end, man. This is probably the most even matchup so far. I mean, both teams 94 overall. The backups on the defense are absolutely insane, let alone the starters. Garrett, Hendrickson, so many X factors. Let's see how this one starts off. 3rd and 5, play action for Mahomes over the middle. That's a bullet to get them across midfield. Chris Godwin, another guy who was having a phenomenal season before he got injured. Hopefully he bounces back healthy next year and continues where he left off. Look at that dot to the other team by Trevor Lawrence, man. Not the best pass, not the best decision. There was about 3 guys from the other squad in that area. Marlon Humphrey, the one that gets the INT. Mahomes in the zone, and he's gonna get them the 2-possession lead. It's Chris Godwin, 10-0, 2017 draft class, off to a blistering start. But you can't count out T-Log, especially with that wide receiver core. Amon-Ra getting them across midfield. He is probably top 5. I mean, you tell me in the comments. Name 5 wide receivers better than him, or at least that's having a better year than him, man. Etienne out the backfield, cutting this to a 1-possession game. And here we go, late in the second quarter, Amon-Ra continuing to be just a menace. Nobody can cover him. We end up going into halftime, tied up at 10. Here we go in the third quarter. Mahomes with a costly mistake, interception. Jalen Phillips out there in coverage, getting the INT to pick 6. And just like that, 17 unanswered for the 2021 draft class. However, you cannot count out Mahomes. 3rd and 2 in the red zone. He throws another interception after moving his team all the way down the field. It's Greg Rousseau. You have front 7 members out there in coverage, making plays, and look at Trevor Lawrence shaking off a would-be tackler, scrambling for over 40 yards on the ground. They end up going up 10 points, and that's all she wrote. 20 unanswered for the 2021 draft class. We have 1 game remaining in round number 1. It is the 2020 draft class taking on the 2019 draft class. Joe leading the way for his squad, Tua, Herbert, and I couldn't even fit Jalen Hurts in this graphic, man. That's how good their quarterbacks are. And then, of course, you have Jefferson. You have CeeDee Lamb. I mean, you have JT. Another absolutely filthy squad, man. Defense, a lot of guys with abilities. Chase Young I believe he was the first overall pick. You have Terrell Jr., you have Winfield, and then the 2019 class led by Kyler Murray, you have Minshew, Daniel Jones, Jacobs, but of course the story of the offense has to be the wide receivers, man. Metcalf, AJ Brown, Debo, McLaurin, Hawkinson at tight end. Look at this front seven: Crosby, Bosa. Can't even start Jeffrey Simmons or Quinnen Williams because you have so many studs on that front seven. So this one might be another high scoring affair. Joe Burrow on third down finds a wide open man underneath, and he helps them pick up the first down. Later on in the drive, Burrow in the end zone finds Juwan Johnson for the touchdown. 2020 draft class strikes first, but there's Josh Jacobs having himself a great year, picking up the first down on the ground, 2nd and inches. Murray finds his guy, helps them get into field goal range. It's a 73 ball game heading into half number 2, and Kyler throws a laser down the sideline to who else but AJ Brown. They end up taking the lead. 2020 draft class has some playmakers of their own, however. Brandon Ayuk with a nice game. Burrow's in the zone and he makes a mistake. Or should I just say that cornerback made a phenomenal play, man. Jumping that route, watching the quarterback's eyes and putting this team up 10, but you cannot assume that Burrow is gonna lose. I mean, there's just too much time. They need to stop badly. 3rd down, Kyler going to AJ Brown. That's who you need to go to when you need a first down. They punched their ticket into the next round, and we have 6 teams remaining. And here's how the matchups are going to work. You have the most recent draft class taking on the oldest remaining draft class, which is Lamar, in the 2018 draft. Then 2023 will play 2019, and 2022 will play 2021. You've already seen the 2024 draft class. Let's take a look at their opponents. Lamar, Allen, Chubb, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk. Mandrews was drafted the same year as Lamar, but the story of this team might have to be the defense. Look at this. Minka's not even starting. That's how nasty their secondary is, let alone their front seven. It's going to be tough for the rookies to take care of the 2018 draft class, but they've had a great tournament so far. And speaking of great, look at that start from Nick Chubb. Hoping he has another speedy recovery, man. There's just been so many injuries this season. Mandrews still healthy and still producing for Baltimore, and for the 2018 draft class gets the first points on the board. But look at Maserati Marvin Harrison taking this one to the crib. We're tied up at 7. Rookies are not afraid, okay? Even though they might be outmatched on paper, they might have the lowest overall remaining, but they have plenty of heart. Jaden Daniels in the red zone, gonna throw it in the end zone, and it's Marvin Harrison for the 2nd time in this game. Lamar has some work to do late in the 4th quarter. Instead, he ends up throwing an interception, a pick 6. That's gonna seal his team's fate. Last chance for them. He's gonna end up getting taken down. Too much talent on that rookie front seven, man. Jared Verse with the sack, and the 2024 draft class pulls off the huge upset. Our next matchup, let's look at the 2023 draft class taking on the 2019 draft class. Can the younger team end up with the W again? Well, they're gonna have to fight back from being down 7. Kyler moves his team down the field. Jacobs ends up scoring the first points in this one. Stroud moves his team down the field and ties this one up at 7. It's Puka Nacua doing the honors. And then the 2019 draft class gets down the field. They get a field goal, and here comes Stroud again. This was a high-scoring game. We're about to have double digits from both teams before halftime. This one is Jahmyr Gibbs running it in, and the 23 draft class takes the lead. Here's Kyler right before halftime, going downfield. Just a busted coverage from the 23 draft class. You can't leave that man open. Deebo Samuel turning back the clock, looking like he did in his prime. 17-14 heading into half number 2, and Stroud is gonna find his tight end Sam Laporta to put them back on top. We are on the seesaw, both teams just scoring at will. No one can get a stop until now. 3rd down, huge sack on Kyler. They're forced to punt the football, while also being down 4. So this is a huge opportunity for Stroud, and he takes advantage of it. Wide open receiver in the middle of the field. You can't leave him open. That's Rashee Rice. So much talent from the 2023 draft class, and they're able to move on to round 3. So our final matchup to see is going to be the 3rd team to move on to round 3. The 2022 draft class taking on the 2021 draft class. We know what both these teams look like, so let's just get it started, man. 2021 draft. Off to a decent start. Trevor Lawrence over the middle. 2nd and goal. He's going to go to the end zone. That's a touchdown. And they strike first. 3rd down and 3. First drive from the 2022 draft class. They are not able to move the chains. So here we go. 2021 class ends up getting the football in great field position. Trevor Lawrence was doing a great job on the ground, and that opens up the run game for his running back ETN. Found his blockers to perfection. 14-0. It looks like it might get out of hand unless Purdy can start making some plays. He ends up getting them in field goal range. 14-3. Not an insurmountable lead. Like, they could still come back. Purdy escaping the pocket. This is what he's doing a great job of early in his career. Like, a reason why I think the Niners should pay him. Maybe not $60 million a year, but they should pay him. You don't let a quarterback like that walk, man. He ends up getting his team into the end zone and then getting the 2-point conversion with ease. It's a 3-point game. All of a sudden, they have one more chance. 4th down and 10, less than 2 minutes left. Can Purdy make a play? He's gonna throw this one deep, wind it up in single coverage, but it's incomplete. Great deflection, and all they have to do is get a 1st down. This one's over. ETN makes it happen. The 2021 draft class, the 3rd and final team to reach the final round. So since we have an odd number of 3 in the final round, we have to once again sim a normal season to see who's going to get the last bye in the tournament, man. Everyone's back on their normal team. Caleb in Chicago, McLaurin in Washington, Diggs in Houston. So we simmed all the way to the playoffs, and only one QB was able to take his team to the postseason. That was Trevor Lawrence, and the 2021 draft class is gonna get the 3rd round bye. So we have the 24 draft class taking on the 23 draft class. Winner of this is going to the finals, man. 23 draft class ends up getting on the board first. They get a field goal. Jaden Daniels on his first drive ends up getting sacked. Will Anderson Jr. taking him down in the backfield. 3rd down, they cannot get the first. So here comes Stroud and company. They end up getting across midfield on their next drive. Rashee Rice in this deep wide receiver core, man. Both of these teams, matter of fact, every team remaining has an extremely deep wide receiver core. Marvin Harrison Jr. having himself a tournament. Might be the MVP favorite if his team can get it done. That is a huge if, because they're still in a dogfight against the 23 draft class. Jaden Daniels ends up getting his team a nice lead, comfortable lead, 14-6. And then later on in the second half, it's Jonathan Brooks who's gonna punch it in, 21-6, 21 unanswered for the 24 draft class. Stroud trying to keep his team in it with just over 2 minutes left. He runs it in. 2nd and 7. No more timeouts for the 23 draft class. They cannot stop Brooks. And just like that, the rookies are headed to the finals to take on Trevor Lawrence in the 2021 draft class. Both teams have fought their way to this point. Both teams are stacked. Amon-Ra leading that wide receiver core. You also have Jamar Chase. I mean, they're just stacked. This is going to be another high-scoring affair. At least it looks like it should be on paper. Amon-Ra, right when we were talking about him. I mean, look at him. He cannot be stopped. Touchdown. 2021 class takes the early lead. But look at this bullet from Jaden Daniels to Rome Odunze. I told you they have a deep wide receiver room. There's Jamar. Finally, we get to call his name. We haven't seen him much because Amon-Ra has just been dominating every target. And for good reason. Look at what he does when he has the football. Touchdown, shaking off tackles. He's been a touchdown machine in real life this year. So, I mean, this is very realistic. This is what he does. Jaden Daniels, speaking of what he does, scrambling to the left, tying this one up at 14. We have ourselves a game right before halftime. Lawrence in the zone. Now, remember, we sim late into the season to get the Super Bowl matchup. So he had a depth trade upgrade at some point. He gets his team into field goal range. They take the lead right for halftime. Now we're in the fourth quarter. Nothing happened in the third. But here's ETN fighting his way into the end zone. It's a 10-point game, and it looks like it's all but over. But Jaden Daniels moves his team down the field with the quickness. They end up scoring a touchdown, and now they have to go for the onside kick attempt. They do not recover it. Can they get a stop? Let's see. 3rd down and 5. Lawrence tries to go to the screen. It's incomplete. Clock stops, and they have to take a field goal. Jaden Daniels can win it with a touchdown. Let's see what he's able to do. We saw him, throw a Hail Mary touchdown against the Bears. Can he make magic happen again? That's a nice dot. They're inside the 25. Harrison Jr. with the catch. 1st and 10, less than 30 seconds left. Harrison Jr. again. He is a monster, people. He's going to have a phenomenal career if this is any indication, man. Less than 10 seconds left. Lawrence is going to wind it up. It's caught by Jamar Chase. A miracle reception by Jamar Chase. Last chance for Jaden Daniels and the rookies. Can they make something happen? He's going to throw it up, and it's incomplete. The winners of the draft class tournament is the 2021 draft class. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Destroy the like button, man. More likes, the faster the next video comes out. I'll see you on the next one.
'Cause I'm on one, ay, number one, ay, I'm the one, yeah, getting it done.